Alright everyone, I had a lot of difficulty getting my Xiaofang, however you pronounce that, camera to actually modify. All of the guides I found online were all incomplete. They basically expect you to be a programmer at the end to get the heat problem fixed. So this is the guide that I would start with. I'll put the link in the description below. But the steps in this guide are, first of all, to downgrade the firmware. Very simple to do so. I'm going to go ahead and pause it for just a moment and pop in my micro SD card. 16 gig, I got it off Amazon for $6. It was the cheapest one I could find. Alright, now that the flash drive, or the mini SD card is in my computer, at this point, it's going to be just an empty file. Now, I already have this window open. However, what I'm going to do is put on this firmware 660R and just drag and drop it onto the flash drive. So super easy so far. It's on the flash drive. You can download the firmware from that website I was talking about earlier right here. Super easy. Steps on here are pretty clear as well. I'm going to go ahead and pause it and now put the card into the camera. Alright, so this next step, you're going to be inserting the micro SD card that you just put that firmware on right here. As you can see, I've already inserted it in. Then you're going to move over to the setup button. So you're going to use this little tool that came with the camera, slide it in there, and you'll feel it press down. Now this is important. Watch here, as soon as I turn on the power, light's going to start going yellow. So we're going to count to 10 here. Did a little longer just in case. So I'm going to let go of it now, and I'm going to wait for this light to start flashing blue and yellow. I'm not going to do anything until then. I'll pause it and then come back. Alright, as you can see, it's flashing blue and yellow now. At this point, what I'm going to do is remove the SD card from the camera just by coming in here and depressing it and then pulling it out. The next step is I'm going to come over here to the setup button and press this setup button again for about a couple seconds.
This camera was modified by handler, waiting to connect.
Perfect. So now this point is waiting to connect. So this is where we come back to the guide. So we're going to come down to the guide and you're going to go to your phone and use the Mi Home app. Set this up, and when you get to the QR code, like you did when you initially set it up, you can go ahead and scan that. When it says waiting to connect, scan that. So I can't show you that since I'm going to have my phone to do that, but I'm just going to hold the camera over the QR code on the Mi Home app, and that will put in the credentials for my Wi-Fi. That's the only reason we're using it, is just to put in the credentials for the Wi-Fi. I'll be back here in a moment. So it said QR code scan
Wi-Fi is connected.
was successful, and
The
then
network connection is successful.
let's just say one more thing: connection failed. Well, typically they say connection failed. Maybe not this time. Anyways, at this point, the camera has been downgraded to the old firmware, and it's connected to my Wi-Fi network. Again, the only reason we used the Mi Home app was to get the credentials in there for your, your SSID and your password for your Wi-Fi. You use their QR code and then use the camera to scan it on my phone. That's why you didn't see it. It said scan successful, waiting to connect, connection successful. And at this point, the camera is connected to my wireless network, but it is not connected to the Mi Home server. And you can tell by the flashing blue light. Solid blue means connected to Wi-Fi and Mi Home server. Flashing blue means it's connected to the local network, but it can't reach the Mi Home server, which is what we want. We want to run this locally and possibly open up ports on our own network to see it remotely, but we don't want it going all the way to China and having to deal with their servers going down and whatnot. What I'm going to do now is take this SD card, place it back in the computer, and add in the software for the actual hack. So we'll come back to the computer monitor over here. I'm going to open the window. Now this is important. Make sure nothing is on this card. So I'm going to delete that firmware I added on there to downgrade it. Now the card's empty. Now the next step, if you come over here, it says Open Win32 Disk Manager. So you're going to need to download this software. I just Googled it, and then I downloaded it and installed it on my machine. Pretty simple stuff. When it pops up, it's going to look like this, right? Very simple. I'm going to go to the folder where I've downloaded the hack, which is right here. See this right here? So you download the hack, unzip it anywhere on your computer, open Win32. So we're at Win32. I've downloaded the hack already. I've pathed it to the image, not the zip drive, but the actual image. That's important that you're on the image. And then also, I make sure this is on the same drive letter as my removable disk I've just inserted into my machine. At this point, I'm going to click Write. It's going to prompt a prompt. Yes. We're going to wait for it to go through. Great, it was successful. Now at this point, what I'm going to do is remove the micro SD card from my machine that I just wrote onto and insert it back into the camera. The camera is currently on. I have not unplugged it since I set it up. Doesn't matter if you do, but I haven't. I'm going to insert the card. You're going to hear a noise here in a moment. What that means is my hack has been successful. At this point, I'm going to go back to the guide. It's going to say power it on, wait for the camera. After you hear the sound, go to here, right? If you don't know your camera's IP address, all you have to do is log into your wireless router and go to the DHCP handler, or depending on your router, it might just say simple connected devices, and just look for the IP address for the camera that's connected and compare it to the MAC address on the bottom. And I'm not going to show you mine, but on the bottom of here, there's a MAC address. Look for the last 2 digits and then compare that, and that will tell you, boom, that's your IP address. The next step is to go to the hack screen. So what I'm going to do is take this, copy it, open a new browser, and as you can see, I'm going to insert my IP address for this particular camera. My IP address, this is my local IP address, is 192.168.1.119. This right here is a good screen to see. This means that my hacks have been installed on my machine, and I just need to apply the hacks now. At this point, I'm going to update my time zone real quick because I don't want it to be this time zone. I found my time zone by just simply Googling my time zone in Google and then getting the little code. I'm in Mountain Time, so that's why I'm doing this. So I'm going to set it Again, they don't tell you to click this button after you update it. So you're unsure, does this set this or this? It actually sets the time zone. See, successful, good. All right, so now I'm gonna come back here. I'm gonna just make sure at this point that this is updated, good, and then go over to apply. I'm gonna apply the hacks at this point. It'll take just a few seconds. Shouldn't take more than 12 seconds. I've done well over 10 of these. Boom. Great, everything's running back. I want to come over here. You can see this is all different now. And I like to check just to make sure the scripts are running. Perfect. They're all running. Now at this point, this is where the guides just drop off. They tell you that, hey, once you update this, you're gonna have the heat issue with your camera. But they don't tell you how to actually fix that. And to fix that, you literally have to be a programmer. They want you to use Telenet or some other program to basically pull up a black screen and have no idea where the hell you're going. So I found a way to do it through FTP without any problems whatsoever. So I'll show you how to do that here in just one moment. All right, we're back. So what I've done is I've just pulled up Windows Explorer and I typed in, again, the IP address that I know that from my camera already, but instead of HTTP, I put FTP, and then the IP address, and then I clicked on media, this folder, this folder, this folder, and this folder. So that's the path to get to this section. Again, this guide talks nothing about it. I couldn't find any guides that talked about this. But if you don't do this, your camera will overheat and die. So this is very important to do, and I don't know why they haven't done it. I'll come in here and I'll look for this particular file. See that file? That's the file that's going to cause me problems. Now what I like to do is just check to make sure that file is correct. So I'll come over to a web browser, and again, we'll type in the same identical path that I just typed in over there. So as you can see what this script looks like. So there's code in here that causes it to the night vision actuator to constantly be engaged, which will overheat your camera and kill it. Of course, they never updated this in the original documents, and I mean, obviously we're thankful that these programmers did this, but they left us on our own. So once you update it, average Joe is stuck with a camera that basically will die eventually, unless you're a programmer. So after hours and hours of figuring this out, you can't just use Notepad and whatnot to edit your controller code. I've downloaded Notepad++, and that's the program. And see how this code looks very different in here? Well, they modified it, right? And this code is available on GitHub, but you have to know how to extract it from this file, edit it, and then re-upload it to the camera. And if you do this with Windows Notepad, it will screw up, and your camera, the IR controller won't work any longer. So what I did is you download Notepad++, and then you can go to GitHub, get the codes, and again, to get to GitHub, you're going to come over here to download, where is it? Downgrade file right here, right? This is going to pull up GitHub, say releases, right? And in here there's a section known issues. It talks about the heat issue and whatnot, but there's a section with the actual source code for that. I'll give you the pathing, a URL directly to it. But what you're going to do is you're going to take that source code and you're going to drag and drop out of the camera this particular file onto your desktop, then open it through Notepad++. I just dragged and dropped it into this program. Don't use Notepad, don't use Word, it will screw it up. It will look like it's right, but it changes the way the attributes are to it, and the camera doesn't recognize it. So I've already done this. I'm gonna go ahead and just go to my changed file. So I have the heat issue update control one. I'm gonna grab it. So this is what you'll do once you edit this file. You'll grab it and drop it right into the camera. Now remember, I'm connected via FTP. This isn't on the memory card. You won't find this on the memory card. This is actually on the camera. So I just slide this screen out of the way. You should see 818, and the new document should be 1.395 kilobits. So yes to all. Great, done. Now what I'm gonna do is I wanna verify this actually changed. So see, old code, I'm gonna refresh this screen. New code, see the difference? Now, the moment that I kept on running into over and over and over because I was editing it with Notepad, I was uploading it via FTP and the attributes, it kept on going red right here, and it would say NOK, which means it's not running. So I'm gonna reboot the camera. Gonna wait a few moments. I'll pause it while this is happening. All right, I wanted to show you here quickly. This is what the camera looks like when it's rebooting. You see how it's yellow? That's okay. We'll wait for it to start going back to the blue, to the flashing blue. Flashing blue is fine. We'll give it a few moments. Blue and yellow means that it's trying to connect to my wireless network as we speak. So I should go here blue here quickly. Good. Flashing blue means connected to my network, but not connected to the China server where they get to watch me all day. So let's go back. Boom. Go to manage scripts. Perfect. Green means it's running. So at this point, I know this camera has the edited IR information, which is going to eliminate the heat issue. I don't know why they haven't repacked it with the update, but it's been over a year and they're still pushing out this old update that's giving everyone these heat issues, and they're just saying, oh yeah, just go in here and change the code through Telenet. I don't know if you guys know what Telenet looks like, but it's not user friendly whatsoever. Think of DOS, so you got to pull up a command prompt, and then I want to say you just type in Telenet, if I remember right. Oh wait, no, I think I spelled that wrong. Telenet. Yeah, see this? Okay, where do I go from here? Who knows? I don't know. Well, my camera's been updated. It's running properly. I can go into, if you have a VLC media player, it's this little one right here, see that? You can go over to Open Stream. Here's the camera we just edited. I'll type it in, 19, right? And then the semicolon 554/unicast. That's how you get to the RTSP server, and that's how you're going to view it through VLC or Blue Iris or whatever software you decide to use. You could use TinyCam on your Android phone. I have an Android phone, and that's what I use is TinyCam to view my cameras. So play. This is just going to show me that, yep, it's working. Perfect. As you can see, it's just projecting what I'm looking at. Great, so my heat issue's solved. Again, I went through all of this. I typed in the heat issue, I looked for it. No one says what to do. I don't know why this is set up this way. You know, here's an article I came across when I basically bricked my my camera, 21 IR control NOK. Right, and you know, oh, you must reboot it and do this, and oh, you got to go through. Make sure it's not DOS formatting. SSH in to edit the file, or SSH edit into a Linux machine. Okay, you know, I know about some basic coding, but this is way beyond me for the average Joe. I don't know why they just don't upload the edited thing controller.ir, but you know, this is the link to the code, right? Sweet code. But again, if you just copy and paste this into that file, your camera won't read it and you'll get this IR problem. As you can see, this person said, hey, I had to change the permissions. Log into the device with SSH. What the are they talking about? Who knows, right? I tried Telenet. I got logged into it, but I couldn't get the pathing to be able to like download and upload the app and the new file. It didn't make any sense to me. I spent literally hours. Now, this is a quick way to do it. I'll have the link to this in there. I'll have the link to Notepad++, and I'll have the link to this initial guide I showed you at the beginning, because this guide's great. it just was created before the heat issue was discovered. And once the heat issue was discovered, we just had tons of problems, of course. Cameras would get hot, burn out, IRs would stop working, your night vision would look like crap. Anyways, so and yeah, I thought I'd post this. Sorry I didn't use a screen capture or anything like that. It was kind of on the fly. I just had one more camera to update. But hopefully this saves you hours, because I spent literally hours trying to figure this out. And it was this simple and no one put anything together.